Good evening. Welcome back to TCR Silver Class. We are here for Season 10 at Melbourne, Australia. It is Tuesday night. I was out last week, but my name is 007 Professional, joined by, again, Chatty Duck. And as you can see, here from down under in Melbourne, Australia, we're on board with Passasaurus Rex, our championship leader, I think, or second place in the championship just on his first quali lap. But it's sunny here at Melbourne. It's a 5.3 kilometer circuit length, 58 laps, but 27 laps, I believe. And we have 16 turns, but again, joined by Chatty Duck. Chatty, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. 007, it's good to have you back in the booth with me. It was a bit lonely last week.
I'm feeling a lot better, so I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, that's good to hear, man. This is the Albert Park circuit in Australia, which has hosted Formula One since 1996, and quite a tricky circuit for overtaking and just generally getting around. It's pretty much a street circuit with like some of the barriers in place and some tricky turns, and overtaking, kind of like we saw at Zandvoort last race, is going to be quite difficult around here, I think, in the race. So qualifying is...
sorry to interrupt you. D-Swish is out at turn 11 and 12. I think he got on the grass and curb, but D-Swish is out of quali.
Yeah, and that's a tricky part of the track. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a few drivers at the least get a bit out of shape through there.
Absolutely, it's a really tricky circuit. I think it's more of a driver's track, very bumpy. A lot of the shadows, a lot of the trees make it very difficult to see. The glare is going to be possibly a problem for the drivers to kind of gauge their braking points, their turning in points. So we'll see probably some drivers go off track, and as we just saw, D-Swish is one of the first ones to experience that tonight, unfortunately.
Yeah, I'm thinking based on where he went off that he probably got on the outside curbing after turn 12, and 9 times out of 10 on the game, if your steering isn't completely straight, then the car will just go off on you if at that corner. So I'd imagine that's what happened to D-Swish.
Yeah, I think so. Just some more Taffer on his out lap. But so far in quali, we have Passasaurus Rex in P1 with a 20.3. Not really sure of the times that we're looking for. I think 19s are what we are looking for. But Passasaurus Rex in P1, Bamboo in P2 with a 20.7, and then about 4 tenths behind that, his teammate in the Renault, Dorian Alpha, and then we have Motor City in P4, just behind with the 21.2. F1 Racer, who is making his way towards the top of the championship standings again, had some good results, and he's currently sitting in P5. So as drivers are making their way back to the pits to put on a new set of shoes and then go out for their second run, we have kind of a lull in qualifying. But you mentioned last week in Zandvoort, and that was a really good race, really exciting race. So it's very difficult to overtake on that track, and I kind of imagine the same here with the street style circuit that Melbourne has to offer, with the just constant corners. There's not really a lot of long straights. The front straight is really the ideal overtaking opportunity, but you have to get a good run out of that last corner, which I think is turn 16. But the front straight is not, it's not long enough to really let drivers make that easy overtake. So drivers are really going to have to be on the back, close on the back of the driver in front to make that happen. Nip Steven gets a little loose on the exit of turn 12 where D-Swish spun out, so he backs out of that lap. So he'll probably have to pit and go again.
Yeah, the other possible way that a driver could overtake is kind of by staying close through turn 1, utilising the first DRS straight, which Nip Steven is on at the moment. And then if you can just keep it close through turns 1 and 2 and then get into the second DRS zone and potentially outbrake into turn 3. But yeah, apart from that, it's really not a clear overtaking spot around here. So it's going to be a challenge for the drivers. And we saw last week actually a really good battle between our two championship leaders, Paz and Bamboo, where Paz was clearly quicker than the Renault, but Bamboo had better straight line speed and was able to just defend from Paz for most of the time that he was ahead of him, until Paz eventually made the overtake with a few laps to go. And that was quite an important overtake for the championship too, because it did move Paz ahead of Bamboo in the championship by a couple of points. So that was crucial as we're sort of getting towards the back end of the season here in season 10.
Yeah, actually, you said a couple of points. It's actually 2, to be exactly. 121 points Paz has on Bamboo. Bamboo sits on 119 points. And then TCR F1 Racer on 94. Dorian Alpha also on 94. So the championship battle's looking quite close. Shokadia is just coming around to set his first flying lap around the final turn. And he's had a pretty clean lap so far. Just on board with him as he was navigating through some traffic. And he goes only P3. So I'm sure he'll crank it up on his second or third attempts. He's now on his cooldown lap. But yeah, I was just on board, and the shadows, it's really hard to like see your braking point into what you said was turn 3. And we've seen actually in real F1, drivers are really going to have to, be the last of the late breakers to make any sort of attempt to pass down there. It's quite difficult to make it stick, but these drivers are Silver Classic TCR, so they have the knowledge and the skill to make that happen. On board now with Motor City, who sits in a very respectable P5 at the moment at 21.2, ahead of TCR F1 Racer and ahead of some of his rivals. So yeah, on the kind of what we call the back straight now, going into that really quick left-right, turn 11, turn 12. See how he navigates this. And it's that exit curve. You want to be really, really careful on that, because that can just completely snap the car and then you're done for. So he did that quite well. Down a few gears. Overall looking quite clean, very stable. Slight lift there, heavy braking into turn 15. Don't want to lock the brakes too much. And gets a really good run out of turn 16. A little wide, but gets away with it. And already out of ERS, so that's going to hurt him down to the line. And he goes to P4. So 21.1 for him. So do you think we're going to see any 19s tonight, Shadi?
I think so, for sure. Bamboo's done a 20.1, which is provisional pole. I've just been on board with Paz, and he was on a lap which was pretty similar pace to his first attempt, which was a 20.3, but he backed out of it after the chicane because I think he cut the corner slightly on the inside. But we've got 6.5 minutes left in the session, and it looks like everyone is going for it on the soft tyres, so you should see everyone really going for it and really doing the best lap time possible. And with this much time left in the session, you would expect to see some times in the 19s for sure.
I wonder how many drivers are going to be in the 19s, but everyone's on the soft tire. It says on my screen that Kano is on the medium tire, so I'm not sure if he's going to be able to qualify inside the top 10 on the medium tire, but if it does, that will offer him a better alternate strategy. What do you think the tires strategy is going to be for the race? If most drivers are starting on the softs, what do you expect them to do?
I would imagine that they will go soft to hards for a one stop, to be honest. I think this is one of those tracks where the speed limit in the pit lane is quite a bit slower than usual. I think it's 37 miles an hour or 60 Ks. So, the pit stop time is quite long, and you can, it is possible on tyre wear to just do a one stop from the soft to the hards, but I mean, if we see anyone try and get on the mediums, then who knows, maybe we'll see them try and extend the mediums to do a medium soft strategy. I don't think it's entirely unheard of that could happen, but I think certainly two-stop is not ideal around here.
Yeah, I don't think you can gain enough time, with the pit lane delta and all that. I'm not sure what the pit lane delta is. It's not super quick, but it's not like a Silverstone pit lane delta. But if there's a safety car or two, which is very possible because as you can see there's walls just on either side of you, pretty much throughout the track, so little too much on the gas, you can get the car spun and hit a wall, and as we saw, again, D-Swish was out already on his first flying lap, so a safety car is possible, and that could also kind of throw up the strategy, throw up a kind of a wrench in the driver's plan. So we could see a two-stop. We could also see drivers...
Oh, and Dorian's retired from the session. He's just crashed out of the exit of what corner is that?
14? No, 13. Right before turn 14. So he probably got on the grass on the exit of turn 13, or at the curb, got on the gas too much, and the rear just snapped around, and then probably hit the opposite wall, the right side wall.
Yeah,
he might have overcorrected too. Gosh.
Yeah, he just got a bit greedy on the power, I think, on the exit. And it's a shame. He was on a much quicker lap. He was about 6.5 tenths up on his previous time, which would have put him at least 4th if he'd have been able to hang on to that. But Dorian will not be starting any higher than 10th place for this Grand Prix, which is a shame for him. The race winner from Zandvoort, and a man who was making a bit of a charge in the championship standings on 94 points.
So he's going to have his work cut out for him, but if he gets knocked down outside the top 10, he could be on the alternate strategy, like starting on the medium tire, or even the hard tire, and that could play benefit. So it's not over for Dorian yet. He's just going to have to kind of rethink his plan and kind of what to do. I'm sure he's not too happy though with that.
No, I've just seen Turkey Wacker take quite a big corner cut on the second part of the turn 11 and 12 chicane. He's coming into the pits anyway, so it doesn't matter. Maybe he knew what the right thing to do was there, because he basically missed the curb on the inside at turn 12, so it was a big cut.
An interesting line though. But we have 2 minutes and 20 seconds to go, so a lot of drivers are about to be coming out of the pits on their out laps, just kind of prepping their tires and going for one last time in qualifying to just kind of squeeze up the order a little bit. The times are really, really close, actually, between kind of Shoko, the F1 racer down P4, P5, down to around the P10 Dorian area. I mean, that's all within like 1/10 of each other. It's quite close.
Yeah, and up front, the battle between Steven and Bamboo, there's 4 1,000ths of a second separating those two guys, which is paper width, I suppose. Like, that's just nothing.
That's
separating those two guys. Blink of an eye, exactly. So close battles throughout the grid, and again, the drivers know how important it is to qualify as close to the front as you can around this track, because once you get into the race, overtaking is very difficult. And we've got to consider as well for the guys in the championship battle, the overtaking is going to become more and more risky as we get to the last stages of the championship, because you don't want to retire from a race and miss out on crucial points.
Yeah, absolutely. And just trying to find somebody to be on board with. I know Blinn was on a hot lap, so we'll go back on board with him. Blinn's coming up to turn 13 and runs slightly wide, but I think that's actually where Dorian lost. He got on the curb and just spun the car around. So Blinn kind of on a decent lap. It's a little messy, it's a little scruffy, but we'll see if he can kind of vault himself into the top 10 around the final corner. And across the line, only P12. So he had a scruffy lap. I'm not sure if he's going to go for another one. But Nip Steven is on his final attempt, so we'll ride on board with him.
I think Dorian might secretly be hoping that someone else overtakes him here. Because,
if I was him, I would be.
Yeah, the choice of 3 tyres at the start of the race, as opposed to having to start on a used set of soft tyres in 10th place. Definitely rather be have a free choice of tyres.
If I was a Stunek, I would be quite content with P11 at the moment. Oh, Steven makes friends with the wall there, just a little bit. Hopefully no wing damage. So actually this part here, if you get a good run out of turn 12, you can actually try to make an overtaking maneuver into turn 13, but that's a risky place to do it. And let's see if Steven improves. He's only in front of Bamboo by 0.004 of a second, so literally a blink of an eye. Pretty clean lap from him. It's pretty on the limit. That's in the 19s. So you predicted right. 19.996. So that's right on the cusp of a 20, but good for Steven for putting in a 19.
Bamboo is in the middle sector at the moment, and he's on a very nice time so far. He was 1/4 of a second up on his previous best time in Sector 1, which would give him pole position, and again through the second sector, just more than 1/4 of a second improved on his best time, so he can just keep things tidy here in the final sector.
That's quite conservative into turn 13, though, I thought.
Yeah. So we'll just have to see now with the final couple of corners coming up. He goes a bit wide in 15. So we'll see what the time is over the line. Maybe he lost it in that final sector. Nope.
No, he's got it.
He takes pole position by, nearly 2/10 from Steven.
Absolutely. And Lazo right now is the only person that can push Dorian out of the top 10. So Lazo coming around the final corner. Not an ideal line. It looks like he's... Let's see. Yeah, P8. Yeah, Dorian's P11. So Dorian, with a sigh of relief, probably thinking, oh, thank God I can start on whatever tire I choose. And that completely opens up the race for Dorian. So Dorian was hoping that he would get knocked out, and he did. Kind of an odd way to... weird thing to say, but in this track, the alternate strategy probably is the optimum strategy. So good for Lazo actually putting himself in P8. And I think that's it, actually.
Yeah, everyone's either retired or they've received the checkered flag or they are in the pits. I'm pretty sure Krooner is a reserve driver because he hasn't set a lap time, and I remember him doing the same thing in Zandvoort as well. So I would say that he's a reserve, and obviously we saw what happened to D-Swish at the start of the session.
Yeah, he is a reserve driver, and so at the moment, and TCR reserves do not qualify, so he'll be starting from the very back. But Krooner's been putting in some really good race pace and results whenever he has reserved the past, I think, 3 races or so, ever since Austria or Spain. So hopefully he can have a good result tonight. That'd be good to see him up there. But the quali standings, or the quali results, Bamboo taking P1 with a 19.8, right behind Nip Steven in the Red Bull, P2, Paz, our championship leader, P3, Shokadia, P4, P5, Fire Up Flow, Got Any Weave, F1 Racer, Lazo, Turkey Whacker, and Motor City rounding out the top 10. Our second place driver in the championship is Dorian Alpha, or no, not Dorian, sorry, Dorian is third, and P11, so he'll have some ground to make up. So that'll be a driver to watch as well. So,
yeah, I'm interested to see how Dorian gets on, because when I spoke to him after the race in Zandvoort, which he won, and I kind of asked him about how he felt about his championship chances, and he was quite cautious and sort of saying that he was trying to focus on the constructors rather than the drivers' championship. But he's 27 points back from Paz, which is not a huge amount, and we've still got 7 rounds remaining in the championship, so there's plenty that could go on in that time. And here he does have the free choice of tyres for the start of the race, which is an advantage over certainly the back end guys in the top 10, sort of the 7th to 10th places on the grid, I'd say. So yeah, I'll certainly be keeping an eye on him in this Grand Prix.
Yeah, and speaking of the constructors, Renault is quite a ways ahead of Alfa Romeo, who's actually pulled themselves up to P2 in the constructors. But he says he's worried about the constructors. They're at 213 points. Alfa Romeo's only at 123. Haas is 126. So actually, Alfa is P3 in the constructors. They're quite a ways clear on the constructors. If I was Dorian, I would be focusing kind of on the Drivers' Championship. Because he does have quite a good chance to kind of pull himself up into the top 3. Well, he is third, actually, but, you know, getting himself in the fight with the top 2.
Yeah, and he's been on the podium the last 2 rounds of the championship, so he's on a pretty good run of form at the moment. Yeah, I wouldn't count him out, certainly at this stage. I mean, realistically, when you look at the table, still quite a few drivers that are not completely out of the picture. You know, if you could string together a sequence of 3 or 4 podiums, maybe, with a couple of victories, then certainly a few guys who could consider themselves to be in the fight, if they could do that. Obviously easier said than done, but you never know what's going to happen in Formula One.
Even Nip Stevens had some good results in the past few races as well, and he's kind of put himself in a really good position, sitting P5 on 84 points, so we're literally right there. I mean, if some of those guys in front of him have a bad race, if they DNF, you know, score very minimal points, and Nip Stevens wins, I mean, that puts him right in the battle of kind of the P2, P3 area. So he's also another driver to look out for as well.
Dorian Alpha has opted for the soft tyres to start the race, which is interesting. And there's only 3 men out there starting on the mediums. That's Kono, Juan, and Robin Hood Lawyer in 14th, 15th, and 16th places. Everyone else out there is on the soft tyres.
Yeah, so the medium tire, not the popular choice here in Melbourne. It's probably quite hot. So the soft tires, I don't expect to last very long. The pit stop windows, we saw the graphic at the bottom a little while ago. It'll show up again at the start of the race. But we're looking for any undercuts, because I feel like the undercut here at this track is worth quite a lot, just because of the nature of the circuit, the corners, the higher speed. So anybody that makes that commitment to pit first, I think might have that track advantage. And here in Melbourne, track advantage I think is everything because of the difficulty of passing. But we are almost ready here for the start of round 10 for Melbourne. Everybody hold on your seats. Turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 is going to be crazy. Hopefully no broken wings. Here we go, 4 or 5 lights for round 10, and lights are out. And away we go. Bamboo, a drive-through penalty jump start as Dorian gets a really good start, already overtaking a few cars around the outside. And everybody makes it through turn 1. Seems cleanly. We've got a really bad exit, already down to P7, lost some positions already. And we have Rex looking around the outside of Shokadia. Shokadia holds the inside, but Paz wants to stick it around the inside, does not manage to do that. So far, so good in the front. Oh, and there's a Ferrari out. Ferrari of Turkey Whacker has spun around, hit the wall. I don't think he's out, but massive damage on him.
Bruno as well, in the other Ferrari, he got a good start and had made up about 4 or 5 positions, but then he was
safety car.
One. And yeah, we do have a safety car
already.
And yeah, Bruno had made his way up to about 14th or 15th, but then the turn 1, sort of everyone being so close together, there was a bit of contact with I can't remember who it was actually, but he was on the grass on the outside and dropped to the back of the field again.
So both Ferraris had to have a terrible start all the way at the back.
And as usual, it seems under safety car conditions, or at least in a lot of the races I've seen or participated in, 5-second penalties being dished out for collisions under safety car conditions, and I would imagine those will be appealed after the race because
that's not their fault.
For nothing.
It's just a glitch by Cody's. I know. I just saw an F1 racer get a 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags. But we are under safety car conditions here in Melbourne on lap 1. Didn't even make it through lap 1. But Motor City pits, Robin Hood Lawyer pits, probably going on the hard tire, I imagine, trying to make it to the end. So that's a bold strategy. Actually, another driver in the pits. That is Turkey, which we expected because of wing damage. So at the front, kind of held status quo. I'm going to see what the... Oops. What am I doing here? Position change. So who are the big winners, big losers? Turkey Whacker, obviously a big loser in position change, lost 10 positions. Motor City lost 7, so I'm not sure if he had any damage, and maybe that's the reason for his pit stop. F1 racer lost 6 positions, so that might be a glitch on his end. He also got that 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flags under the safety car. Big winners though, D-Swish, up to P12. Blin Machine, his teammate in the McLaren, up to P9, up 4 positions. And then Dorian Alpha probably could not have asked for a better start, already up to P7. So that already puts him in a much better place than, say, P10, P11, where he started.
Yeah, and did Bamboo get a jump start and a penalty for that at the start of the race?
Yeah, I saw his car kind of like stutter and move, and then it said he received I think it was a drive-through penalty. So I'm not sure, if you don't serve your drive-through, does it get added onto the end, or do you get disqualified? Because I know previous F1 titles, if you didn't serve it, you would actually get DQ'd at the end of the race.
Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that that's still the case. Okay. But obviously with the safety car being out, he can't serve his drive-through under safety car conditions, so I think he will have 3 laps after the restart to serve his drive-through penalty.
Well, he probably didn't expect that, and we don't know as viewers, as commentators, if that was as Taffer gets a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Gotta slow down enough there, bud. But we don't know as viewers, commentators, if that was his fault, if that was a game glitch, if the lights went out before everybody else and it just gave him that. We have no idea. So I'm sure we'll hear from him after the race. And
Racing Point are having a nightmare here, because F1 Racer just pitted at the same time pretty much as T4, so they double stacked, and F1 Racer, the championship contender, is in 18th place with his teammate in last behind him.
Yeah, but at least it's under safety car conditions. At least they're not completely out of the race, but they have their work cut out for them to kind of make it through the field. So the safety car restart is going to be a single file restart, so it's not going to be as crazy of a turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 as we saw in the opening lap. But drivers you still want to take full advantage of, trying to make a few overtakes and make that happen. But hopefully... Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, sorry.
This is the second race in a row, I think, that Paz has lost a position on the first lap. I actually think on both occasions it was from P3 to P4. It might have been 4th to 5th last week, but this week it was Chokadia in the Williams overtaking him at the start. Last week it was Gottney Weave, I believe, in the Mercedes. So Paz not getting the best getaways. Safety cars coming in.
Alright, here we go. So the driver's fiercely trying to warm up the tires. It was a very late call. Seems like they're all underway again. Quite a big gap from Paz all the way down to Fireflow. Fireflow was just left sleeping at the line. Top 4 pretty status quo. All about 4 or 5 tenths apart. Oh, look at Steven. Steven's really taking advantage, going around the outside of Bamboo. Bamboo's giving an old nice squeeze there. Holding position. Very nice. Yeah, great wheel-to-wheel battling with those two.
Robin Hoodloy's just hit the wall towards the back. He's still going, but I think he's got wing damage. He's lost both of his end plates, so he'll have to pit again for new tyres.
Oh, Kano going, this is crazy down in P10, P11, P12. D-Swish trying to take full advantage of Kano and a Stunek.
Turkey Whacker's off again.
Oh, no.
And
severe collision with T4.
Oh yeah, so T4 was still behind Turkey Whacker, so there must have been quite a serious contact there.
Steven's around at turn. What's it? Turn 12. He's around. He's going the wrong way. Don't want to go the wrong way for too long. He's going to get DQ'd.
Oh, no.
Oh gosh, almost takes out Robin Hood Lawyer in the process. Oh my gosh.
Did that happen under BSC, or was that while they were still racing?
I have no idea. I just saw Red Bull like not moving on the racetrack, and it seemed to be him. His
Hmm.
wing is gone though, I think. Actually, no, it seems
It
to be
looks okay on my
okay.
screen. Yeah.
Yeah. So his race is completely upside down now.
So I think, as it stands, if Bamboo's got a drive-through penalty, then Shokadir is leading this
In the
race
race
effectively.
with Paz and P2.
Yeah, and this is a
Wow.
great chance for Paz now, the championship leader, because Nip Stephen is a long way down the order as we're green again in Australia. Dorian Alpha is a few places back, and if Bamboo does have to take a drive-through, then it's a really good opportunity for Paz to score some good points and extend his lead.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the midfield battling right now is really, really nice to watch. Drivers being very well behaved, just trying to stay single file. But Fire Up Flow and Paz right on the back of Shokadia. Paz is going to have to play it really smart. He could just be emptying his ERS here, but thinks better of it
Oh, and
to
another
not...
big crash. D-Swish and Kono are both out of the race. Kono went wide at turn 12, the turn 12 exit, and then just spun round into D-Swish. And D-Swish, unfortunately, an innocent bystander in that one, but
Safety
his
car
wheel is off.
again.
He's out of the race, and yeah, that's not a surprise. Those two cars are in quite an awkward position on the track.
Everybody's pitting. Blind's pitting. Gottney Weave, Dorian, Lazo, probably going to put on the hard tires. Blind machines, I've already said. Stunik's in. It seems like kind of the front half of the field from first all the way down to P5 with motor missed the pit entry. So I think it was just a Stunik also has wing damage. Steven is not pitting. This is just weird. Like, I'm a little lost of kind of just positions and what's happening. It's been a little crazy the first 6 laps. Only 6 laps, my gosh.
Karuna, who started last, is in P6 after everything that's gone down so far in the race. So that's crazy start for him. His teammate all the way back in 16th place as it stands.
So you said Turkey spun again, so was that his second time? Just lost the rear of the car?
No, I think he had contact with Tafor, because they both went off, I think, and I think I saw that Turkey Waka had another penalty for a collision with Tafor, and then I went on board with the Racing Point, who was also driving very slowly, so I think those two just collided near the back, and again, not really losing out in any way because of all the safety cars and everything that's going on at the moment. And Bamboo has still not had to serve his drive-through penalty yet because of
the
the two safety car periods that we've had.
Yeah. Because we have not had, I think, 3 consecutive green flag racing.
No.
Wow. What an Australian Grand Prix. Didn't expect this going into tonight, I'll tell you that much.
No, but it confirms what we kind of said leading into it, that, this is a tough track, and
Absolutely.
the turn 12 exit is a very tough one to negotiate if you happen to go wide onto the curb. So hopefully now everyone will be a bit more aware of that for the rest of the race, and we don't end up with maybe single figure number of drivers remaining in the race because everyone's crushing out of that corner.
Yeah, I mean, with how many incidents we've already had 2 safety cars, 1 VAC. Only 2 drivers are out, unfortunately. We've had Kano and D-Swish make contact at the exit of turn 12. But, yeah, I think the turn 12 is like the new, Montreal Wall of Champions. It's very, very deadly and a risk versus reward kind of corner. So drivers have to be kind of tiptoe around that exit, that corner, which is weird because I thought in F1 2019 and 2018, 2017, that exit was much more dangerous in those games than it is currently on the 2020 game. I found the cars actually stick better to the track and the curb and not be so aggressive on 2020, but that's just me. I don't know if I'm, wrong in that aspect. What do you think?
I think the only thing I've found so far is that if you have like a lot of steering lock on when you're on that curb, it will at least unsettle the car and potentially spin you out. And I think that's to me that was what happened to Kono, because I was on board with D-Swish behind him, and Kono just went wide, and the back end went round, and unfortunately D-Swish just had nowhere to go in that situation. And it's the spot actually where D-Swish went off in qualifying. So he was definitely being a bit more cautious and still got taken out.
Yeah, through no fault of his own. So, yeah, shame to D-Swish. Wow.
Safety car coming in. And once again, a very late call on the safety car to come into the pits.
Really was. Paz already looking to Shoko on the outside. Going to go too wide into turn 1. Oh, man, how late on the brakes was Shokadia? That was amazing. Oh, and then Paz just runs right in the back of him. Careful there. He's looking around the outside and see if he just licks the stamp and sends it. Look at that. Wow. Oh, Ashoka's not giving up yet. He's going around the outside of Paz, and they make slight... Oh, gosh, he almost loses it on the exit curve there, but well done to save that. And then back here, you just have cars line to stern. Juan all the way up into P8 on 7-lap old medium tires, so having a good race with him. This is pretty exciting stuff. F1 racers looking down the inside of Kruner, but backs out of it.
Well, Kruner actually got past F1 racer in the corner before, so that was a good move from Kruner in the Ferrari.
Laza gets past Juan.
Just wondering at the moment, 007, who's kind of in the box seat here. I'd imagine it's the likes of Lazo and Dorian, actually, because they pitted under the safety car.
Sorry, 1 second. Got any weeb completely rams the back of a Stunik or Steven. Loses pretty much his whole front wing. I think just a miscommunication there on the braking. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just saying that Lazo and Dorian Alpha and Lynn Machine even fitted under the safety car for new tyres, and if they can get to the end of the race on those tyres, then they are effectively in the pound seat at the moment, because everyone ahead of them is going to have to make a pit stop.
Absolutely correct. Yeah, the pit stop strategy, the tire strategy, Dorian is forcing his way past Juan not having any of it, and holds P9. Dorian probably going to be a little upset there that he was squeezed out onto the outside of the track. But the tire strategy is all upside down, which, no pun intended, but we are in Australia, so...
Nice.
What more could you expect, yeah. Yellow flag in Sector 2, I think that was got any weave, but I think he's all good. Dorian very cautious through turn 12, and almost is going to be overtaken by Nip Steven. Nip Steven going on the grass. Ooh, and then pushes Dorian out and gets passed by Blend Machine. Blend Machine taking advantage of that. Says, thank you very much.
F1 Racers re-overtaken Kruner for P6.
Oh, Dorian's in the pits. Dorian is missing half his front wing.
Oh.
And I'm not sure if that's down to him being overly aggressive or him being pushed out wide a little bit and making contact with some of the drivers, but not good. Robin Hood Lawyer and also got New Weber in the pits as well.
Motor City and Chokadir are side by side. They've just gone through turn 3 into turn 4 now. Motor City on the inside and Chokadir backed out of it. So Motor City in the Alfa Romeo. He's got a huge train behind him.
And I see a Racing Point wing going flying. That's F1 Racer.
Yeah, I think he lost that in the back of Chokadir there. The effect of everyone braking so close together, everyone just closing up on each other, and unfortunately contact was almost inevitable there some way down the line.
Yeah, it's not a matter of if, but a matter of when.
Absolutely.
The cars are a tad bit more spread out now, but what an opening few laps after the after the second safety car came in. We actually have, I think, what, 4 laps of consistent green flag racing, and this is what we get. So very exciting. I love it.
Bamboo and Paz have pitted up at the front. And the question now is whether Bamboo is making a pit stop or if this is a drive-through penalty. And it looks to me as if this is a drive-through being served by Bamboo, which he received on lap 1 and has finally taken on lap 11 of this Grand Prix. That just tells you how crazy of a start it's been. But Paz has also pitted and he's on the hard tyres in 12th place as he re-emerges onto the track. So Bamboo is going to have to stop again, probably in the next lap, to change off of the soft tyres.
There's a racing point. That's tougher just on the mini map. That's weird.
And that is after turn 12 as well. So I didn't see it, but I would put money on it being the same kind of incident.
That's tough for DNF for VSC because of that.
Everyone's kind of at the wrong side of the track because normally under VSC, probably the 4 guys at the front and a couple of other guys further down the field, this would be a perfect opportunity to come into the pits and get a cheap pit stop in terms of how much time it costs you.
Yeah.
But unfortunately the leaders are still, well, they're in the 3rd sector.
I wonder if anybody's going to dive into the pits, especially Crooner, Shoko. Yeah, look, Fire Up Flow, he's pitting. Motor City's pitting. Crooner's pitting. Shoko Dia's not pitting, so he's going to continue on. And now it's Green Flag Racing. So really, those guys that pitted didn't really reap any benefit from that VSC.
No, that was quite unfortunate timing for them because the VSC ended pretty much as they entered the pit lane. So no benefit at all for those guys. Paz is up to P8 now on the hard tyres, 10 seconds back from ISRL Astunik, who is on 6-lap-old hard tyres. And Astunik's actually right up behind Juan in the Haas, I think, and possibly going to make an overtake here. Although Juan brakes much later, goes a bit wide as a result, and Astunik's got a better exit, which should put him up into P6, and it has.
Nice, so just taking advantage of his slight mistake there. Well, we are already on lap 12. It doesn't even seem like that. It only seems like we're on lap 5 or 6, but we've had the safety cars and those VSCs. I think 2 safety cars, 2 or 3 VSCs. So this race is flying by.
Chocodia pits on the lead.
I wonder what he might go on the medium tire since he's extended those softs so much.
Yeah, that's a good point. Why is Slip Steven in the pits again? So he had more
wing damage.
On wing, yeah.
Ah, what a shame. Chocodia putting on the medium tire. So, which makes sense. There's about 15 laps to go. 15 or 16 laps to go, so he's going to have to make sure those medium tires last, which I'm sure he can. Comes out right behind Motor City and Crooner fighting for P7. Now Fire Flow is right behind Chocodia, but Fire Flow's on the hard tires, so don't think that'll affect Shoko too much. So a lot of strategy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could end up with quite an unusual podium with the way things are shaping out at the moment, because you've got Lazo leading the race from Limb Machine, and they're both on the hard tyres, which should get them to the end of the race from here. Turkey Whacker in 3rd is on the mediums, and I think he will have to stop again. But then ISRL is
for the soft tire.
Yeah. And Paz, the first of our sort of championship contenders, is in 6th place at the moment.
Look at Blend Machine diving it down the inside. Going side by side through turn 2, and Blend Machine makes the a little bit of, I think, maybe netcode or lag or something, but Blend Machine makes the pass, makes the overtake. Now he's in P1.
Wow, so
what a top 3 we have right now.
Yeah, if it finished like this, it would be quite an unusual podium, like especially just for in terms of what we're used to in silver class, in terms of the championship standings and the guys who we generally perceive to be the quickest. But two safety cars and multiple VSCs.
Steven's round again on turn 3, on the entry to turn 3. I don't know what happened. But now Dorian has passed it. Nib Steven is having a nightmare of a race. I don't know how many wing changes he's had, but hopefully they brought enough for, to Melbourne. If he needs another one. I don't think he does. I think the wing is okay. But Nib Steven is not having the best of races, unfortunately. He is really aggressive.
Yeah, he certainly is.
Good God. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this is not really making me look forward to this race on Thursday.
It's going to be, let's just say it's going to be exciting and unpredictable, and it might be better to be conservative. And, you know, if you think somebody's going to dive it around the inside, let him have it. You know, if you're going to go too wide through turn 11, turn 12, don't do that, because we can see how that can end up. Juan is pitting from whatever place he was, but has the hard tires on, so he's good to go to the end of the race.
Another in sector 1, which is now disappeared. I think maybe... Is F1 Racer getting lapped? I think so.
Oh, it's about to be 3 wide. Gosh. Juan getting right in the way of this battle between Steven and Dorian. Of course, he has every right in the world to battle these guys. Nothing says he can't, but Steven makes the pass around Dorian. Dorian was kind of trapped, and F1 Racers left the session, so something has happened. I think he just was not having it, or that might have been a glitch out, because he's not retired yet. So TCR rules states that if you are to retire, you have to retire in the pit lane and then leave the session if you have to. So I think that's the AI car, because he's still running about a minute 20 behind the leader.
Yeah, and hopefully the AI car will just stay out of the way. I'm pretty sure it's being lapped anyway, so hopefully it's compliant in that. Motor City and Chokadir are battling into turn 1. Motor City got really defensive on the pit straight, but he held onto the position.
And Choco did cut a little bit of turn 1 and actually lost out from that because just unsettled the car too much. So the grass and the gravel making a difference here. You know, I like the grass. I like the gravel on these old school circuits. I think it makes it, you know, I'm not a fan of these big runoff areas that you have in Paul Ricard and, you know, Shanghai and, you know, certain tracks like that. Abu Dhabi, for example. I think it adds another element to racing.
Well, it certainly adds to the challenge, which is what we've seen so far for these drivers. And Zandvoort was quite similar as well. That's quite an old school sort of track with gravel and grass runoff on the edges of the track rather than tarmac. So you can't really afford to go off.
No, absolutely.
F1 Racers rejoined, so maybe he did just get disconnected.
Mm-hmm. Well, we're more than halfway through this race. We're already in lap 17 out of 29, so only 12 more laps to go. And the top 4, which is Blend Machine, Turkey Whacker, Lazo, and Astunik, they're quite a healthy gap from Paz in P5. They're about 5 seconds out in front, and I think their tires are just fine. So I'm really, really hoping that we have kind of an unusual podium. I think that'd be fresh and just be nice to see Blend Machine up there again. Turkey Whacker, who's having a brilliant race, but I don't see him keeping those medium tires alive till the end of the race, but who knows? And Lazo having a great race, and then Stunek as well. So, because of some safety car shenanigans and some close battling, it's kind of, just made the racing here tonight unpredictable and kind of thrown up the standings a little bit.
Absolutely. Motor City is defending so hard right now from Shokadir behind him. They went side by side through turn 3 a minute ago, and Motor City is just determined not to let that Williams behind him get ahead. It's quite a good battle at the moment going on between those two, and it looks like Fire Up Flow is catching up to the back of them as well.
Be in for a three-way battle. Looks like Motor City's been watching a lot of Mark Webber, David Coulthard videos. I remember those guys when they were racing. They made their car five cars wide. It was crazy. But here, Shokadia has a really good run of Motor. Let's see what Motor does to defend it. Doesn't do anything to defend it because he had the top speed. Let's see what Shoka can do though on the run down to turn number 3. Doesn't go for it. So Shoka playing the long game here. Yellow flag. What's that all about?
I think F1 Racers just retired.
He's retired, yeah.
Nick Stevens absolutely flying at the moment. He's just set a couple of fastest laps in succession on the mediums. He's outside of the points at the moment, but he's easily the quickest man on the circuit currently.
Yeah, just absolutely flying and setting blistering pace. But let's look at the results for a second, because Bamboo, Steven, Dorian are three drivers in, I think, the top 5 in the championship, and right now they are right on the brink of just getting 1 point, where Paz, the championship leader, is in P5. So Paz is really going to take advantage, and also Shokadia is in P8. So the leaders who you would expect to see in the top 3, top 4 positions are not there, and it's it's just really made this race really nice to watch. And yeah, I think it's absolutely wonderful. And Kruner's made up, I think, the most positions out of anybody, starting from dead last on the grid up to P6. So he stayed out of trouble, and well, actually, he was one of the ones that was involved, I think, in the lap 1 incident, wasn't he? He was all the way down in last again after the first safety car. So he's put in some good laps and had a good race himself.
Yeah, I mean, if we think about it, both of the Ferraris were in the last 2 places during the first safety car period, and now they're 2nd and 6th. I mean, admittedly, Turkey Wacker probably does have to pit, but still as clear an indicator as anything of how crazy this race has been already.
Yeah.
And the top 4 guys have been on their tyres the longest out of anyone by about 4 laps. Certainly Blim Machine, Stunik and Lazo on the hards, they've been on those for 13 laps, and then Turkey Wacker's been on the medium for 14 laps already.
It seems like Turkey Wacker's medium tires are starting to go off a little bit. He's being caught by Stunik, and Blim Machine has really kind of just left him in the dust, and Turkey Wacker does get overtaken. Pretty nice overtake there by Stunik. So Turkey Wacker might be thinking about pitting, maybe next lap, maybe for the soft tires, and just kind of doing a fast lap.
Paz is going up the inside of Lazo, and Lazo's they both
Paz go off.
Paz as well. They both broke really late there. Lazo more so than Paz did. So effectively, that is an overtake. Not the conventional way, but he got the job done.
Yeah. Wow. Probably, who's going to blink first, who's going to brake later, and it seems like they both lost out on that one. But like you said, Paz did make it up to P4.
So Paz is probably still on for a podium finish here, given what we think regarding Turkey Wacker having to make another pit stop. So
yeah,
definitely going to boost his championship standings. It doesn't feel to me like Bamboo is making much of an impression on Fire Up Flow. The gap's come down maybe from 4 seconds.
Fire Up Flow
to 3.5.
round outside, or Oh, and then Fire E just breaks late and just goes off and just gives it back right up to Shokadia. So Fireflow made the overtake and then just missed braking completely, and all that work is undone, unfortunately. Yeah, Paz, I think this is probably the best he could wish for, especially with his championship rivals way down in the points. I mean, this will be a massive gain in the championship. And it's races like this, it's results like this that can make the difference at the end of the season. Drivers might think, oh, if I just finished one position better, if I didn't make that one mistake, finished, just a little higher in the Australian Grand Prix, that would have won me the championship. So it could be this race that does kind of sway the championship one way or the other.
Yeah, and this situation is actually really reminiscent, for me anyway, of the Singapore Grand Prix in 2008, for anyone who can remember that far back. Felipe Massa was on pole position, and Paz is actually about to overtake Turkey Wacker by the looks of things.
Hopefully not there, because we've seen some incidents there. And but yeah, I do remember Massa, and the fuel hose, the refueling hose got stuck, and going side by side. Turkey's not giving this up. Got stuck in Massa's car and created a little, fuel spewed everywhere and created that fire. Massa had to retire, and that effectively lost him the championship. And Turkey Wacker takes just a little Sunday cruise and mowing some grass. So he's probably in the pits this time around, but stays out, actually. So I'm not really sure what he's trying to gain from that. But yeah, I was sad to see Massa lose that championship. But yeah, that one race.
Yep. And another factor in that race was that it enabled Hamilton to, I think he got a podium in the end, so obviously big point swing at that race. Obviously 2008 in general, which was just a crazy season of Formula One. Steven with another fastest lap.
Wow.
I think that was probably my favourite sort of era of Formula One, at least, in the time that I've been watching it, that sort of 2008 to 2010 period.
I really enjoyed 2006 to 2008. That was probably my favorite because those cars were so, I don't know, like the engine, sound, and the way Motor City pushing Shokadia through the turn 10 overtakes him again. So Shokadia is not happy with Motor right now.
Yeah, they've been battling for quite a few laps now.
Yeah, it's a great battle. Love it.
And Fire Flow is right up behind them as well, and Shokadia is looking down the inside, but Motor City defending valiantly around the outside in third sector. I couldn't remember the corner name, but yeah, great job of defending on that occasion from Motor City.
Ooh. Turkey, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Seems a few drivers have lost where the brake pedal is going in the pits, unfortunately. Hopefully not a glitch, but yeah, shame to see that for Turkey. Turkey are now down and out of the points. So he had a good run in the podium positions, but effectively out of the points at this point in time. But yeah, nice to see him up there. Shokadia's got to be careful. He might lose a position to Fire Flow if he doesn't keep an eye on his rearview mirrors. But it's so hard on this track to stay behind somebody because of the shadows, the heavy braking zones, the constant medium to high speed corners, and to just stay up on the rear of the car and try to get a good enough run. The rear is dancing around all the time and sliding around, as we can see Shoko going a little wide there. And if you don't make that corner, you're hitting the wall on the outside. So this track is, I think, a lot more challenging than people think it is. Bamboo making a pass. Ooh, God, that was ballsy, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's a great move from Bamboo there.
Wow.
It's a very tricky spot to make an overtake at, but did really well from what I saw.
Absolutely.
And all of a sudden he's up in 8th place and not a million miles away from putting himself up into P6, which would be a case of damage limitation in the championship.
This is a great four-way battle, though, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and it's kind of all been centered around Motor City and Shokadia. Bamboo might just come in straight away and get past all of them. He's going past Shokadia already.
What kind of... oh, and then he goes slightly away. He's put like a another turbo in that car. The speed he's catching these guys in the straight lines. Oh, the Mercedes loses it, almost gets into the Red Bull of Nip Steven. Well done for him saving that. That could have ended, sadly, that could have ended in tears, honestly. But Bamboo, he's found something in that car. Because he is flying at the moment.
Seems to me that Bamboo does prefer a lower downforce setup. Because Zandvoort, he had a lot of straight line speed, and here again, as he gets alongside Chokadir into turns 11 and 12,
wow,
the same place that he overtook. Who was it on the last lap? Fire Up Flow.
Yeah.
Really impressive stuff.
Man, that guy's on a mission, isn't he? I'd
imagine there's probably a bit of anger from the way this race started for him getting a drive-through penalty off the start line.
I think you're correct in that assessment.
How long can Motor City resist? The next question.
Yeah, I was about to say that. How hard is Motor going to defend, and how aggressive is Bamboo going to be? I mean, only 4 laps to go. These guys are in a pretty good position in the top 10, P6 and P7, so they're going to have to be smart about this one. Chokadir is he's trying to, he wants in on the fun too. Chokadir is actually a 75% ERS. So a lot more than Bamboo. Bamboo kind of drained it getting past Fireflow and Shoko, so.
Yeah, Motor City is very low. He's around 10% at the moment as my water bottle just falls off my desk.
Something to note also, Passasaurus Rex is now within half a second of Estunik. So Paz is looking for P2 this race. What a comeback drive from him.
Motor City kind of came close to losing it out of turn 12, and Bamboo with DRS is just
that's so close.
So much quicker.
I've been watching the minimap as well, trying to see if Paz is going to make an overtake on Stunik. But right now, our attention is on this battle here, because this is just fantastic. Paz looking for it. He's not able to put the traction down as well as the Stunik. Tries for the over-under, does not work. So he's behind them for probably another few corners. And here goes Bamboo.
Yep.
Careful, boys. Nice. That was clean. Well done.
And Paz has got through ahead of Estunik.
He must have done it into the braking zone of turn 9. Or whatever turn that is.
Yeah, turn 9. Yep. Oh, and Estunik very nearly losing it out of turn 12.
Do you think Paz can catch Blue Machine with 3 laps to go effectively?
Well, I'm going to just see what Blin's time is on this lap when he crosses the line, and then get a comparison with Paz. So Blin does a 25.9.
Oh, Turkey Whacker's out. He lost at the exit of turn 12.
And it's quite an eventful race for him, all told. Paz 0.6 of a second quicker than Blin on that last lap. There's 3 laps remaining and he's 4.2 behind, so I mean he's really going to have to get the hammer down if he's got any hope of pulling off a impossible seemingly comeback drive.
Yeah, Shoko had the run, but Motor City, again, one of the last of the late breakers here in TCR, proving again tonight that he is. Nobody can get past that man. He kicks up a bit of grass into Shokadia's helmet. Not be appreciated by Shokadia. Shokadia right in the back of Motor. This has got to be a pass right here. Going very defensive is Motor. And just sets himself up nicely for a run down into turn 11, turn 12. You got Nip Steven. Nip Steven has been very aggressive as well. So now Shoko has Steven on the back of him. Steven cuts a little bit, but does back out of that. So well done. Thank you.
Yeah, he'll probably be a bit frustrated he did that because he would have had a good run otherwise on Chokadir.
Yeah, very true.
And Bamboo, meanwhile, has nearly caught Lazo on the Alfa Romeo.
Chokadia was going around the outside of Motor. This should be easy. Can Motor do anything about it on the run down to turn 3? I don't think so. Bamboo. Nicely done. Just chops right across Lazo. So that's P5 for Bamboo, which is good points for the championship. It's damage limitation at this point.
Yeah, he's done a really good job actually in a comeback drive. I think he was down in 10th or 11th for quite a while, catching up to the guys ahead of him, and he's done a pretty good job to make these overtakes and pull himself up into the top 5.
So if you want to watch that kind of battle from P5 to P10, we are about to start our final lap of the race. And I have not really said anything about Blend Machine this race, but what a masterclass of a race he has put on for us tonight. I mean, part of it is luck with the safety cars and the VSCs, but you know, there can only be one winner. And right now he is in P1. Paz is closing up at a astronomical rate. It's only 1.3 seconds back to Paz. I mean, if it came down to the final lap, you're seeing it right here.
Yeah, I think the only thing, well, there's one DRS straight left, isn't there?
There is, and Paz is just giving it all the beans. Blue Machine right up against the wall there. Both of them completely drained and out of ERS. Keep it on the track. Very nice. Only one more sector to go. I'm not trying to say anything here. But we have 2 more corners. And Blend Machine, yes, yes! Crosses the line, P1! Whoa, what a drive from Blend Machine. What a stressful last lap that was. I'm sure he was just sweating and... Oh man, I don't think he was trying to look back any, but that's well deserved. That is a masterclass of a win. And P2 in the championship last year, runner up to F1 racer, and I think he just showed that he still has it with all the bad luck he's had this season. Pulls it out of the bag for a victory here at Melbourne at Albert Park. Paz P2, Astunic P3, and looks like most everybody has actually finished while I was ranting on about Blue Machine. Any changes in position? Back in the field?
So, yeah, Chokadir got past Lazo on that final DRS straight down into turn 13 on the last lap, but I didn't want to say anything in case anything did happen up front. But yeah, so Chokadir took P6 away from Lazo in the end.
Wow.
So I will get our podium drivers into the party if Sony are going to allow me to.
Yeah. Crooner is the driver of the day. Well deserved. I think I agree with that, especially starting from dead last and getting some points.
Yeah, definitely. He did a really good job, and I think if it wasn't for him being a reserve, he would be in the mix in sort of the top 5 or 10 drivers, certainly, if it wasn't for having to start at the back. So Blue Machine has an invite, but I'll just...
I'm sure he'll be joining quite quickly. But that was quite an eventful race. I mean, we had all the championship contenders have some issues and have to fight their way through the field on alternate strategies and different tires, and that we had, and kind of an unexpected podium with Blend Machine finishing P1, Paz finishing P2. So look, grid coming from 13th on the grid, P1, a student coming from P12, Crooner P4 coming from 19th, definitely driver of the day. Bamboo P5, Shoko P6, Lazo P7, Motor City, Nip Steven, Fire Up Flow rounding out the top 10. Then you have Dorian, Gatniwi, Robin Hood Lawyer, Turkey Whacker, unfortunately DNF'd along with Juan, TCR F1 Racer, Tafor, Kano, and D-Swish. So that is that.
I don't know if Sony are recording chat parties now. I just want to tell them that I hate them for what they've done to parties. It's just a nightmare.
Oh, it's absolutely terrible. I mean, what was wrong with what we had before? You know,
nothing.
Yeah, exactly. It was brilliant, brilliant before, and yeah, you know, sometimes, you know, if, what's the quote? What's the saying? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So yeah, it is what it is.
But anyway, invites are out. Blin and Paz are here, and Stunik, hopefully, is on the way.
Yeah, it'd be awesome to hear from the entire podium.
Okay, I think all the guys are here now. 007, do you want to take it away with the questions?
Sure. So, let's actually start with P3. So, Stunik finishing P3. Unfortunately, lost out to Paz in the final few laps. But Stunik, a great drive from I think it was P13 on the grid. Correct me if I'm wrong. How was the race for you, and how did you manage to just survive that race and avoid all the incidents? We had 2 safety cars and like 3 or 4 VSCs. So just kind of talk us through your race a little bit.
Yeah, first off, I want to say congrats to Blin. Like, Blin just had like a really bad string of luck lately. I'm really glad he got this. The race was good. I knew Paz was going to get me the whole time. I was just nursing the tires. I pit on lap, I think it was 7. I went on the hard, same with Blin. Blin pitted right in front of me. Blin just got out ahead of the traffic. I got stuck behind, I think it was, I forget. It was a Ferrari. And yeah, just try to pretty much nurse it home. I saw the gap closing with Paz the whole time, and I was like, there's no point. He's faster than me. Like, to get a podium, just to absolutely nail the strategy, like, it's just all I could ask for. Really no luck around Australia, like, at all. But really, really proud of this one.
Yeah, I think it's a job well done, and really good to see you on the podium. And what's the next track, by the way? Anybody know?
That's a good question. I actually know it. I mean, I had it open earlier. Take a peek.
It's Monaco.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the size of depression, yeah. So, Monaco, how do you think you're going to get on at Monaco?
I just want to finish the race, I'll be honest.
There you go. I think if you finish the race, there's points to be had. So do you think, Stunik, your strategy today, do you think it played out well? Do you think you could have done anything differently, maybe to gain P2 or something? Or do you think what you did today was probably the maximum that you had?
No, I think I could, if I just, because I saw that Paz and Lazo were just getting really, like, elbows out back there. But the thing is, under the first safety car, I was warming up my tires, and I, like, nicked the wall. So I needed the wing change when I pit. If I hadn't needed the wing change, I would have had that extra time and would have got out in front of the traffic that, like, ultimately separated me and Blin. I didn't think I was going to challenge Blin, but at least a solid P2. But, like, I mean, P3 is not bad. It's going into it, you know, I was just trying to do damage control, like, with P11 and qualifying, just pretty much just bring home some points for the team. I saw Nip was up there in second, and unfortunately we traded places towards the end of the race, so just really good to bring points to the Red Bull team, so pretty proud of that.
Awesome. Chatty, anything for Stunik?
I don't think so. I think we've kind of covered everything on that front. But yeah, congratulations on getting P3. It was a crazy race, and you know, to sort of keep it together while all that madness was going on must have taken a cool head. So yeah, very well done.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, congrats. So moving on to P2, which we see Paz, our championship leader, going to be extending his championship lead from Bamboo. Paz, you were at the front, you were in the mid-pack, you were at the back at some stages, and I don't really know where you were going to end up, and the strategy at the end seemed to pay off quite well. So again, same thing with the student, just kind of talk us through your race, especially the crazy start that we all had, and then your decision to, I think, pit under the second safety car, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, how was your race?
Well, originally my plan was just to, through all the safety car madness to the beginning, just try to extend the life of the softs, which really didn't pay off that much because most of the life of them was spent on the safety car. So towards the end, I was just like, okay, I'm just going to mirror whatever Bamboo does. The moment he goes in, I'm going to go in. And then he went in, and I went in, but I saw he didn't even go into his pit box, so I'm guessing it was some sort of drive-through.
Yeah, he did a jump start at the beginning of the race.
Oh, gotcha. So I went in at the same time he started his drive-through, and I got in the hards, and I went back, and I'm coming out like P13 or P14 right in front of all the guys who were not even in the race anymore. And so at that point, I was just like, okay, let's get in some tire management, a little bit of fuel and ERS management, and just see where we get from there. And then towards the end, I ended up passing everybody else as they went to the pits, and I saw Stunek and Blinn in front of me. I was like, oh, okay, these guys must have started on the hards because, they were pretty far back in qualifying because, they were so far in front of me then. But then towards the last few laps, I realized, like, wait a second, these guys have already made their pit stops. They're going to finish the race on here. And then I knew I really had to put the hammer down and try to go as fast as possible. I ended up catching up to a Stunek, but then, I got really close to Blinn at the end. But, P2 I'm super happy with. Really thinking about championship right now. Just happy to get in some solid points and avoid all the carnage.
Yeah, I think tonight was kind of a damage limitation considering everything that happened during the race. Do you think your incident with kind of going off the track in turn 3 with, forget who it was, but I think
Lazo.
you ran Lazo, yeah.
Lazo.
Do you think that kind of cost you the victory today?
I definitely think it did play a part. I was not expecting him to go that deep in there. That was obviously a breaking point in misjudgment, but I was just like, okay, I got to break just slightly deeper than. And then once he went flying off, I was like, oh, then I just missed mine too. So definitely shows you can't exactly rely on the other drivers all the time to hit their breaking points too. But still definitely a solid race, and that definitely did cost me in the end. But win some, lose some.
Awesome. Chatty, you got anything?
Yeah, just in that situation in the last sort of 3 laps, Paz, when you were catching Blinn so quickly, like what's going through your head at that time, and like what are your sort of emotions then? Are you just like tunnel vision, like zoned in, trying to just drive the wheels off it, or are you thinking like, try not to overdo it and go off? Like what's your thought process at that time?
Well, right then it was definitely just tunnel vision, hard as you can. I'd really gotten a good feel for those hard tires around Australia, and I had a good idea of where the grip, the line is. So I was just like, okay, just go. And then in the end, it wasn't quite enough. It really reminded me of the first race at Bahrain when I was on the hards. They're completely worn, and D-Swiss was catching up to me those last couple of laps, and I was panicking in front. I was like, oh no, he's going to catch me.
Yeah, it was very reminiscent of that. It's just kind of like a reverse roll. So, but congrats, and P2 is nothing to, that's something to celebrate, I think, and especially good for you in the championship. So well done, and hope to see you doing quite well in Monaco next week.
Thank you.
Yep. And then moving on to our race winner, who it's been a hot minute since this man has stood on the top of the podium, runner-up in Season 9 from last season, but our very own Blinn Machine finishing P1 today at Albert Park. Blinn Machine, just tell us your emotions, just tell us how you feel. How was that race for you?
Oh man, that was a crazy one. It's still a little bit unbelievable that I actually won that. Paz got super close to me at the end there. I was surprised by how quickly he was catching up. But honestly, this race, I mean, I love racing around Australia. I didn't have any time to really practice today. I had about an hour and a half right before the race. And I really thank D-Swish for giving me his setup because that was really nice. And it worked out really well. But it was a crazy race. I mean, those safety cars right at the start, I started P13. Qualifying didn't really go well for me, and then I made it up to I think P8 before the second safety car came out. So when the first one came out, I was like, no, I'm staying out. These tires are still good. I'm gonna keep this position. But then when the second one came out and I saw everyone diving into the pits, I was like, all right, I'll dive in as well. I'll put on some heart. Let's see if they can make it till the end. And then from there on, like you were saying with Paz, it's like tunnel vision. I just kind of got into a pace. I started overtaking some cars. There was a lot of people battling in front of me. So I really benefited off of other people's, I guess, mishaps and a couple of incidents. And there was a couple of really good battles between myself and Nip Steven and Turkey Whacker as well. We really went there side by side for a couple of times. But overall, honestly, I wasn't even counting laps. I wasn't looking at my like tire wear or anything. The only thing I had to focus on was my fuel. I started with an extra 3 laps, so I was running in rich pretty much like 75% of the lap on most of my laps, and that's what really allowed me to stay ahead. But towards the last couple of laps, when I saw Paz starting to really catch up to me, I started using more and more fuel, and then it got down to 0.01 right at the last lap, so I actually had to run and lean into a couple of corners. It was super, super close, and I'm honestly just so surprised I actually made it to the line and kept that position.
Wow, that that's got me excited too, just listening to your race. So that's well done, well done. Chad, you have anything?
Yeah, I mean, congrats, Blin. Obviously, it's good to see you up there at the front after some of the bad
Thank you.
runs of form you've had. Was it? Can you remember? Was it Astunik or Lazo you overtook for the lead of the race?
It was Lazo, yeah, and that was really surprising because I was just like overtaking cars and I thought I was in like 4th or something. All of a sudden I was coming up to Lazo and it said he was first, so I was like, oh my god.
Wow, and that just shows like how focused you were, I guess, because you didn't even realize that you were coming up to the lead of the race, which is, I mean, that's awesome, to be honest, because that's kind of, I think really when you drive the car in races, that's kind of the point you want to be at, where you're just focused in like that. So yeah, awesome.
Yeah,
Thanks again, guys. Yeah.
Absolutely. Just one more thing, Blinn. I I noticed you were in P1 for 10 laps or whatever, and it was like the 3 laps to go, 2 laps to go, and I was purposely like staying away. I didn't want to like commentate Chrissy or anything. And then the final lap, I was on board and just was trying to say as little as possible, and it's like, come on, and but how you felt the last like 2 or 3 laps, like you get more tense? Do you start sweating more? Do you start even possibly like legs shaking a little bit? Like, what do you like? How are you the final 2 laps?
Oh yeah, I was a mess. Those 2 last laps, I was just completely freaking out. Honestly, I was freaking out for like the last 14 laps. As soon as I got into the lead and I realized that I think my tires already were up to like 50% wear, I was like, oh, I don't really know if I'm gonna make it. If anybody comes out of the field that might be a little bit quicker, they might have a pretty good chance, and that's what pretty much happened at the end there with Paz. He just had crazy pace towards the end of the race, but I think I was working those tires a little bit too hard, and yeah, especially the last lap, he was within DRS, and I was just completely freaking out.
Well, it's a job well done to all 3 of our podium finishers tonight. Blinn Machine P1, Passasaurus Rex P2, and Astunik P3. So, well done, boys. But next week we head to the very tight, twisty circuit of Monaco, which is sure to be another spectacle. It's one of the crown jewels of Formula One. Hopefully we can have a really good race, and hopefully the walls don't play too much of an impact on the results. So, that's it for tonight with our podium finishers. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us in the commentary booth.
Yeah, thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, chatty. So, man, I'm out of breath for that one. That was a good race, and again, Australia just seems to give us everything every time, and never have a boring race there, do we?
No, definitely not. And great to see the shake-up in the front of the grid as well. Obviously, the safety cars played a part in that, and just meant that we had some really great battling out on the track, and a lot of intrigue with the result up front too. So a very exciting Grand Prix tonight.
Very action-packed. So that is it for tonight for Silver Class, but please join us tomorrow for our Golden Class, who races at the same time, and then our Platinum Class, which our Bloom Machine commentates on, and then myself and Chatty Duck will be racing in Platinum on Thursday. Same time, 8:15 Eastern, and then next week we travel to Monte Carlo and the city of Monaco for round 11. So if you're watching, thank you so much for joining us tonight, and we will see you next time. Thanks. Have a good night.